Hey fam, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another reaction. This is Segovia coming to you live from the man cave. I hope everyone out there's having a good day, y'all. We're busy today. I'm coming in here, quick 30-minute video for you guys and quick reaction. The baby shower's here. I already set up the backyard. I'll be sharing some pictures, but stick around for the end for the chit chat. Enough of it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
California was very different from how you know it today. This central fertile land in California was actually a freshwater lake called Lake Corcoran. It flowed into the Pacific Ocean through the Carcana Stream. The source of fresh water was the rainfalls and the melting snow from the mountains to the east. As the temperatures started to rise, the lake overflowed and created huge canals to the Pacific Ocean, draining this way the Lake Corcoran, leaving behind only this body of water called Tulare Lake. The farmers in the region started to build canals out of the Tulare Lake into the California Central farmlands. By 1935, almost the entire lake was drained. Today, this is what remained from the lake that once covered all the center of California.
President Biden are getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, etc., as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy, and they were saying that, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him. That's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, nobody's above the law, I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I know.
Y'all, I had a heck of a reaction on my second channel, links in the bio. But I don't know, it blocked it. Blocked my video from coming out. I've seen so many reactors react to that view clip. I don't know if I feel like the littler channels get a lot more strict than the big channels, because that 20-second clip right there won't have a copyright on my big channel. If I put that on my second channel, on my little channel, it'll get a copyright. So I don't know if that's what it is. If you have more of a following, maybe if you're monetized, YouTube's going to be a little more lenient. I don't know, but I had a heck of a reaction over there, man. I wish I could have put it out, but we're going to get active over there, y'all. It's starting to grow slowly, but we're going to get active.
You know what I said? I know what the president said. That is where we were at the time. That is where the president was at the time. I am his spokesperson. This weekend, he thought about it, he wrestled with it, and made this decision.
This is what the United States...
He didn't wrestle with it. He lost. Their team lost. If it was Kamala, she would have swept it under the rug, because guess what? They're above the law. But that he lost, I better pardon him, because they're going to come get him if I don't. Weasels, y'all. They told everybody we're above the law, we're righteous, we believe in the American law, we'll never do that. And what did he do when push came to shove, which he knew he was going to do if Kamala didn't win?
Used to look like in every city across the country. You could even do rivers, you could do ponds, you could do anything, even in Alaska, even in Oregon, even in California, San Francisco, anywhere you could imagine. Back in the 1860s, they were just popping up buildings. Look at that, look at that. Oh, just every day. Just throw up a building. Interesting. Then you start to think about electricity. But when did electricity come about? Because you would think you might need a little electricity to build something like this, if you think about it, right?
Nah, they used candles.
You'd kind of think that. Maybe you'd have some light bulbs. In the book I was reading, they were talking about how they replaced all the light bulbs because they didn't need the light bulbs. Because they used a new system. Isn't that interesting? They used a new system. These horse and buggies were so advanced back then. Look at that. Just throwing up buildings. They must have had an engine on that horse and buggy, that's for sure. I mean, that you could just keep throwing up these buildings everywhere. All over the United States. This is what existed across the United States, I've started to realize. This is what the United States used to look like in every city across the country. And what happened was, once TNT and dynamite came, all of a sudden a lot of this stuff started to vanish. That's what happened. And then they gave us the whole little story of Oregon.
Symbolism, y'all. in our kids' movies. Look at that. Now, I know the majority of us know what those symbols mean, but anybody new here or new to this that don't know what those symbols mean, go on Google, type in symbolism for, you know, like a PDF file or a CP, you know. Think about what I'm saying there. I can't say those words because YouTube will block me and give me a strike. But do the math, go look them up. Those are in our Disney movies, y'all. Right there in plain sight.
Whoa, now what's happening with y'all out there? Check this out. Here we go again. If it ain't one thing, it's another. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Listen, so South Korea president declared martial law on his people, right? Then the folks go into an uproar. They trying to break into government buildings. They fighting with the army. They just doing all kind of shit, chaos, right? So the government says, nah, he can't do that. So let's vote. They get majority of the vote. They try to overturn it, but guess what? The president gets the last say so. So then the president's like, you know what? Let me pull that off the table. All the citizens calm down. Martial law is not in effect. Everybody going about your merry way. Now this is where it started getting strange at. So the U.S. has over 30,000 troops in South Korea. South Korea is one of the U.S. main allies. They do all kind of business together. The problem is, how come Joe Biden didn't know that shit? How did the United States not know that this president was finna do that type of shit?
Is it their business? Is it America's business? Are we going to tell them that we're going to put us under martial law? No, it's none of their business, right? Or am I wrong, y'all? The hell they got to tell us for? They do what they want. Well, I don't know. Robot's going to flip out and turn on his owner. He's already looking at him. Better sleep with one eye
I
open.
can go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology.
It's illegal to record. That's why they take your phones. And somehow they leaked Diddy's bail hearing. Whoever gets caught with this, they're going to jail. Also, this gives them grounds to throw this case out now. That's crazy. Diddy is a demon, bro. Somebody on his team reached out to somebody that could get bought. That's what happened. That is exactly what happened. MediaTakeout.com. All of these regular people, they don't have this power. They don't work with the courts. So it's somebody inside of the courts that's dirty. They need to start doing their job today, bro. This is crazy. That's Diddy right there. Right there. His big head butt right here. Yep. You can't hear it anyway. That's why I'm talking. So don't say you talk through the whole thing.
I wonder if they did drop the case, if he'd be back in the limelight. If the algorithm, because I believe not us as a people, but the majority of people, if the algorithm tells them to accept him back in the limelight, he's going to be accepted back in the limelight. Not from everybody like us that are watching this type of content. We ain't never going to let that slide. But the masses of people, for each one of us, y'all, There's probably, it's 20 to 1. 20 people that are in the Matrix day to day, do the same routines, watch TV, you know what I mean? Do the same things every day. We're outnumbered 20 to 1, I believe.
So I'm worried that what is going on right now is that we are being influenced through a campaign to be acclimated to an idea that might be true, but we're giving events that are not true in order to influence that idea. I don't know if I'm being clear. I am concerned right now that there are fake psyops, that there are things being done by the United States government to put fear and confusion into the American and global public about UAP for an agenda. So are you concerned at all that unprecedented events like this, that make zero sense, that they just think we're idiots, and that all of a sudden they're trying to create this fear of these unidentified unknowns, unknown origin, when it's so easy to track? George and I directly know and have been exposed to footage of high capability of looking at these types of things. That is fact. So, like, are you concerned at all that this is a charade?
Well, first of all, why ain't you putting out that footage? This high definition footage that you got, so we know that it's a charade. You see, you gotta watch these people, man. He's the one that went on the podcast and started everything, pretty much. Him and Bob Lazar, Joe Rogan. That's what pretty much started everything. This guy. And now he's saying we got HD footage, high definition, doing crazy things. Well, why don't you put it out? Put it out so that we know all these things above New Jersey or whatever are government made. But what do you guys think? I would like to see a graph, you know, when it started going public, when they started broadcasting it on national TV, videos like this, because it was never like that before. I wonder what the graph is like, if it just goes like this and then boom, just straight up when they started doing that.
The average apple in a grocery store is over a year old.
Are you kidding me?
No, over a year old. We can make something look ripe. We could pick it green in Argentina or even locally, and then throw a gas called ethylene oxide on it, and it'll look like it's ripe. There is no mold, there is no fungus, there are no bacteria. They are perfect. Now, if a mold or bacteria isn't interested in eating those things, why in the world would we put them in our mouth?
Now, when I went to Arizona for Thanksgiving, my dad went into his neighbor's yard with him and got some oranges off the tree. You know, that guy gives his oranges away. He's got plenty of them. But these oranges, it's been a while since I picked fruit off a tree. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I've been getting them at the grocery store, right? The grocery store oranges are like the size of grapefruits now. The oranges that we got from the neighbor were a little bit bigger than a cutie. Super juicy, super good. Now, I wonder if it was the type of tree he had, maybe like tangerines instead of oranges. All my farmers, all my gardeners out there that have these fresh citrus trees, how are your oranges? Are they as big as they are in the grocery store, or do they fill those up with steroids too? Look at this. It's cool as a cucumber. I don't know if that's how I'd be.
Didn't know. Laurel Canyon was the home of Wonderland Air Force Base. Wonderland Air Force Base had created an entire studio on their acres of property. This studio was not just for recording music, but it was also for making films. This was the propaganda arm of our military.
That big face I made, I just remembered I got to tell my girl, guests are going to be here in 2 hours, and we were having nachos, so I told her to put the cheese on the crock pot because it takes a while to warm up. That's why I made that. Just realized the cheese, because I'm about to go deep on them nachos, y'all.
And it's pretty fascinating stuff if you think about it, because not only did they infiltrate the music industry, but they also infiltrated the film industry. And this is pretty well known by most of us at this point, at least I hope so. But what's super interesting is that each of the homes up there, many of them, if not all of them, have tunnels that connect to each other underground. Not just to each other, but all the way down into town, all the way down into nightclubs. Fun things like that. There was a huge movement in the 60s. They were peace-loving people who said, this isn't our fight. I don't want to go to war. And it became a hippie movement.
You know what's crazy? The government wanted that movement. They did that. I wasn't in the 70s, I don't know. But I remember when they had people out here rioting in 2020, the media did that. The people weren't out there. The media had people out there rioting. So I wonder if the hippie movement was government made, just like Laurel Canyon. All these bands and all these that started pushing that hippie movement, they all came from the same place. We know that conspiracy, government made, right? Jim Morrison, all them fathers were CIA, deep secret people. I wonder if the hippie movement.
And I'm about to connect all the dots. Now, what if I told you that those UFOs are not really UFOs that they're talking about in the mass media? They are basically drones that has a direct energy weapon that has a space-based laser generating system that can create pestilence. Everything that you're seeing taking place is the epitome of frequency warfare that can engineer asymmetrical biochemical warfare, because the frequencies from the direct energy weapon can cause neurological misfire, it can manipulate your nervous system, and it can also put holes in your auric field and make you depressed. So, it's not a coincidence that the United Healthcare CEO was just unalived. While simultaneously, you have these UFOs, which are basically drones that extract direct energy weapon beams that can manipulate your physiology and your neurological capacity. So one thing you got to understand about this simulation that we're living in, everything operates on a seculum of a cycle, which is a pattern. And those patterns operates on the frequencies of time that is being manipulated by the three-dimensional construct. What you're looking at is a smoke screen, right? It's part of the dualistic paradox of illusions. So what you're seeing in the sky ain't no damn UFOs. Those are drones that have direct energy weapons that's coming from the Luciferian Anunnaki faction, right? Because they are basically working with the Black Hats, which is basically the deep state shadow government that wants to manipulate everything within the factions of the simulation. So that's why the guy at the bottom of this picture, he said that we're on the brink of another shutdown.
Doing deep in the rabbit hole of the dark, murky waters.
Watch Angela's face when Sean Ryan asks about the crucifixion. We'll talk.
If you tried to look into religion at all, such as the crucifixion, do you have? Do you not want to talk about that? Okay.
Yo!
Do you want to talk about, you had mentioned you had had a UFO experience.
Yeah, but I was 13 years old.
If you can drive in Pakistan, you can drive
Yeah,
anywhere in the
headache.
world, because it requires immense skill. There's bikes coming from every direction. There's no sense of lanes. No, you can be anywhere that you want to be on the road. So truly, if you are someone who can drive in Pakistan, hats off to you, and you can drive anywhere else in the world.
Do you all remember the artist MIA has recently come out in a video stating that Jay-Z allegedly wanted her to get plastic surgery in order to become a successful artist?
When I met Jay-Z and I signed to Rock Nation, the first thing he told me to do is get plastic surgery.
Now, she says that there was a lot of pushback and she refused to do it, but it actually shadow banning her. Rock Nation, Jay-Z stopped all communication with her. She also said because she did not participate in these certain rituals that most of the celebs do, she was exiled by the music industry.
Keep getting praised by this and that destroys me, because that system which hates me loves Satan. And they know the truth. Underneath, behind the scenes, they know the truth. It's not a joke. And no, I didn't want to drip myself in blood and cover myself and swim in goop, in black goop, wear devil horns, tell a record. It's a bit difficult that when people make it, they all around and thank Beyonce.
Well, Beckley.
Good for her, right? But now maybe I'm starting to realize why Nicki Minaj looks how she looks. Lil' Kim looks how she looks. Who else? Cardi B. All these other new girls. The big dogs say you need to get plastic surgery. You want to get in these doors. Good for MIA.
Tepe, brother, if there is such a thing as an ancient conspiracy theory, it's this. So I remember hearing Graham Hancock come on your show back in like 2015 or 2017, and he was talking about Göbekli Tepe. And at that time, he had shared that the site was only approximately 5% excavated. These pillars dates back 11,600 years. It appears to be purposely buried at the same time of the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe. This is fascinating. I'm like, okay, I'm going to backburn this topic of Göbekli Tepe for a little while, let them further their excavations, and I'll revisit this later when there's something new to share. So earlier this summer, I'm like, all right, let me revisit Göbekli Tepe and see what's new there. And I was astonished to learn that 5% figure was still the same. And I couldn't believe this. They're going to defer a full-scale excavation for, quote, future generations with a 150-year estimated time frame for a full excavation of Göbekli Tepe. And I'm like, wait a second. Are you serious? Like, this makes no sense. We're talking about arguably not just the world's oldest ancient site, but arguably the most mysterious, because it's like you were saying, it's not supposed to exist. Based on everything we're taught in school.
How it is now.
How so?
Everything we eat will be in powder form.
This is people from the 1960s predict the future.
I think the population will have increased so much that either we'll all be living in big domes on the moon, or we'll be living under the sea.
Well, I think in the year 2000, everyone will have personalised televisions and they can watch as much TV as they like.
Well, we'll stop using coal and everything will be powered by electricity, which we'll get from the ground.
Oh, I expect cars will have a lot more wheels and people will drive an awful lot quicker to get to places.
So you're telling me that the guy that was running throughout California and telling everybody to evacuate, y'all remember that? The guy that was saying evacuate all year long to people in California, saying that a huge earthquake was coming. That man who said he had a dream, right? And his dream caused him to go down to California and tell everybody to evacuate. And today we're hearing that a 7.5 magnitude earthquake has struck California, triggering a tsunami warning throughout that part of the state. If 2024 couldn't get more interesting, that tells you right now, guys, that this weather is out of control. Natural disasters of every single sort are, happening very often. And this is to have a tsunami warning is pretty crazy for California. Y'all be safe out there. Peace and love, and I'm out.
7.5 anywhere else on the Earth would have done some damage. 7.5 here, another day, right? People got a little tsunami warning, a little scared, and no buildings, no damage. Kind of weird, right? Anywhere in Japan, how big was that earthquake in the ocean that did that big old tsunami? Remember back in the day? Was it Japan that had that big tsunami? But nothing happens out here, y'all.
They don't want you to know why some cats have slit eyes.
Check this out, y'all.
They're slitted pupils. Do you know how rare that is in the animal kingdom? Lions do not have slitted pupils. They're round just like ours. Tigers don't have slitted pupils either, nor do jaguars. Now this is kind of the weird thing because I kind of thought that a domesticated house cat came from a big cat at some point down the line. But if they don't have slitted pupils like a house cat does, then what does have slitted pupils? Reptiles. Snakes and alligators have slitted pupils. Not any other cat. Now, in many cultures, ancient reptiles were considered to be kind of a trippy creature that had other abilities and senses. The other thing that's weird is that cats hiss like a snake, and they have slitted pupils like a reptile. They also love to eat mice, as do snakes. Now, we know how much the ancient Egyptians loved cats. Cats also have pineal glands. And you notice that cats will do that thing where they'll look in the corner of the room and they make a fuss about what seems to be nothing. It is believed that their eyes enable them to see outside of the visible light spectrum that me and you are bound by. Now, it's not known how a cat has half the attributes of a lion and half the attributes of a snake, but perhaps some genetic tinkering went on many years ago in ancient worlds.
blood has the same chemical composition as the stars. Iron, which is primarily the constitution of this meteorite, has the exact same chemical structure as in your blood. There's a molecule called hemoglobin. It's almost identical to the chlorophyll molecule that plants have, except chlorophyll has a magnesium atom at the center of its chemical matrix. But in hemoglobin that's going through your veins right now is iron. That iron came from that supernova. Eventually your mother, and the food that you eat has some iron in it, and then your body starts to produce blood. And that blood has the same chemical composition as the stars. When did the Chinese land on the moon?
I have no idea.
2013. Did you ever see the video?
No.
So the Chinese landed on the moon in 2013, and they released a video for it. But pretty quick, that video was taken down, and they said, no, it's just a joke, because it was so bad. It was so fake. And because they didn't have, Kubrick, You need a better production staff and better cameras if you guys want to fake this.
The sad thing is, you cannot fix stupidity. And that's what's happening here.
Cognitive dissonance is probably exactly what it is. Is that they've been in echo chambers for so long, that's all they have. Well, we did it as a society, For how many, even when you're in grade school, and they give you the globe, or they talk about the man on the moon, all the stuff they teach you in grade school about stuff that I can challenge right now, They teach us a lot of stuff that we hear over and over and over again that we take it for granted. That's what happened. I don't want to do this anymore. Because I don't believe what you guys are peddling on either side. But I do get a kick out of Tucker because he has pretty good humor and he does come up with some good points sometimes to make me think. I don't believe what he says just because he says it. He makes me think about some stuff. And then I have to go research and I figure some stuff out and I find it on my own. And that's what everybody should be doing. But nobody does that because we live in like this McDonald's fast food society.
What in the world is going on in New Jersey? There's literal reports of people saying that they are terrified and cannot even sleep because they are all being overtaken by drones. For the people saying not really, quite literally made it to the news, but it had to because it's already going crazy on social media. And these drones aren't just your normal size little drones. They're literally the size of cars. And nobody knows where they're coming from, what they are, and why they're there. Now this gets super weird because these things are popping up in the sky randomly at the same time that Clip High's webbot claimed of a UFO dogfight in the sky. And it's not just these big ones that people are talking about, but all sorts of weird drones and craps that are just flying around.
Involved in an investigation into these mysterious, apparently small car-sized drones that people are spotting flying over New Jersey in the middle of the night. It looks very large, right? And all those lights in the sky that you see there, see those lights? Those are apparently drones as well, they say, seeming to fly in a V formation.
It's gotten to the point where there are actually people who are setting up for the night with cameras just to stand guard and watch. And while we don't know what these are, nobody does, and we don't know where they came from. I'm sure someone does, but we don't know where they're coming from. But there are some pretty ridiculous, crazy theories coming out. And people alleging, by the way, it's not fact, I don't know if it's true or not, there's people saying that these things are after people who are investigating UAPs. As if these people were targeted, and the timing is very convenient. So I don't know, but it's definitely bizarre. If you're in New Jersey, comment, let me know what you're seeing. If you know someone in New Jersey, send it to them.
Jersey, tap in. Remember this in 2020? Destroyed it in 2022. It's a clean monument. Why did they tear that down?
Drawn up with them to go and be our first pilot customer. This is all the retail stores in the U.S. There was actually a lot of money coming from the government at this point. So you have ARA, which had somewhere around $25 billion that was earmarked for clean tech projects at the time. This is an insane amount of money from a startup perspective. If you can even just get 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10, you're in great shape. And we had terrific connections. So we've had people like Nancy Pelosi, TJ Gloff, the former Deputy Secretary of the DOE, working for us in terms of figuring out how to get a grant. We put together a very sophisticated, at least for a startup of our size, grant application.
I would suggest you take $1 frickin' dollar. $1.
Let's see, this guy in 2013, this dude on YouTube begged everyone to buy just $1 worth of Bitcoin. For the first time in history, Bitcoin has passed 100,000. I'm sure that $1 probably bought you 1 Bitcoin, or maybe 2 or 3, or maybe it was pennies on the dollar. 1 Bitcoin bought you 100 Bitcoins, $1. I don't know what it was back in 2013. Anybody that knows, let me know down below. But there's people out on YouTube giving you this knowledge right now. This was 2013, 11 years ago. Telling you. There's some crypto out there that if you spend $10, you bought 1 million of them. $10.
Buy some Bitcoins, put it in a goddamn wallet, put it fucking away. Okay? I'm sorry for swearing, but you know what? It's just $1. Get some Bitcoins. I'm hoping that every single one of you buys $1 worth of Bitcoins. Just $1 freaking dollar. Because you're going to be thanking me for that $1. Just $1 of Bitcoins that you purchased. But the odds are most of you, 90% of you, are not going to buy even $1 worth of Bitcoins. For what reason? I have no idea.
There y'all have it, y'all. $1. There's so many little cryptos out there, Doge, Shiba, that are pennies on pennies on pennies on pennies on pennies on that penny for just one. $20, you can have 100,000 of them. Who knows? Maybe it'll go up to $5 one day, and that $20 investment will turn into $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Who knows if it goes up just to $20? Maybe one day. I mean, we went from gold to cash to debit to credit. Maybe that crypto is the next thing. Maybe it's not. $20 is a hell of a gamble. $20 is Starbucks money for a lot of y'all. You know what I mean? But anyways, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. Quick little 30-minute reaction for you guys. Everything's set up out there. I'll be posting some pictures for you guys tomorrow. I'll be back with a longer reaction tomorrow. Baby shower is going to be starting here in 2 hours. I got to feed my dogs. I got to go get some ice. Probably buy a little 30-pack of beer for the people. And that's it, y'all. And then we're going to have some good food, some good times. The baby's almost here. It's crunch time, y'all. It's time to get in gear, y'all. But anyways, y'all, if you made it this far, you know what? Put a baby in the chat. Put a baby in the chat for my boy. You know what I mean? This is Segovia. I'm signing out of the Man Cave. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow for a longer reaction. I ain't gonna be hungover. I ain't gonna be tired. I don't drink. Y'all know that I don't drink, so I ain't gonna be hungover. Just gotta clean up the back. Help my lady. I'll be here reacting with y'all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.